Hello, KOK here with a guide on how to White Mage UCOB. The UCOB is a level 70 ultimate, and because of that, White Mage loses some of their best abilities, which is the AoE Lily, the Blood Lily, as well as Temperance. This means that White Mage is not great at level 70 and is inferior to... That means White Mage is not great at UCOB compared to Astro, which provides 10% mitigation as well as several OGCD heals. However, that's not to say White Mage is bad at UCOB. You can still clear just as well as any other job. So for this POV, we are using NA Party Finder strats. I am L2 for this lineup, and my co-healer is a Sage. Although White Mage lacks the 10% party mitigation that Astro has, they do have a few good tank utility tools, such as Divine Benison, which grants a flat HP bonus to a single member, as well as Tetra. They also have Benediction, which is extremely useful as an emergency heal, although it has a 3-minute cooldown. White Mage also has a Size, which does damage as well as heals in an AoE. If you're trying to play super safe, you can save your Size for rough healing situations in the fight, since the damage isn't really meaningful and new players might struggle a bit with some of the heal checks. And there's no shame in saving a Size for just pure burst heal. We also have the Confession, which boosts your AoE heals temporarily for a few seconds. The usage of Confession is pretty much on a player-to-player basis. Whenever you find difficulty healing, you can use that to boost your Medica 2s or your Cure 3s in a pinch. For the Nael Transition, make sure the party is topped, and as soon as you see the floor start to change colors, you can prep a Cure 3. This makes it so heal comes out after the knockback damage happens, which makes healing the dives a lot easier. Other than that, Nael does not do a lot of damage in this phase. The main thing to watch out for is the tank busters and having your tools ready to react in case your tank drops low, and the 1 or 2 instances of stack damage where you'll have to heal, but a Size and Asylum should be enough to cover that. In the cases where you don't have any relevant OGCDs available, there's no shame in using a Medica 2 to top the party. Especially if you're progging, which I am assuming you are doing by watching this video, it's always better to overheal for the party safety than to get a few extra GCDs of damage off, which is irrelevant in UCOB. For the Bahamut Transition, not really much to say here besides damn heals and make sure the party is topped for the final big hit. On a side note, can be really useful equipping some extra piety pieces. Due to not having access of the AoE Lily, the White Mage mana economy is actually pretty rough at level 70 if you have minimum piety. Even with using Thin Air on cooldown, I find myself running low on mana all the time in UCOB, so don't be afraid to add extra mana regen to your gear. You'll probably need it, especially if you have to do extra healing involved. Blackfire, make sure the party is top before the stack damage, and after the stack damage happens, I like to do a Swift Cast Cure 3. Do top the party before they split off into different sides. If your Swift Cast is down, like if you used it for a res, it'd be useful saving a Size or Asylum for the healing, since Blackfire healing check is actually rather tough. You can also throw regions on people as you're running, since regen is great in that it has no cast time. So Felrune is also a pretty rough heal check with the dives and the etheric explosion as well as the Giga Flare happening all really quick. Good place to use Asylum or Confession. And having Medica 2s on everyone also will help greatly. Here, the tank Flare Breath the party, so we would gain our third LB bar. This is just in case someone messes up Heaven's Fall. But I wouldn't expect you to see this maneuver in PF, since it's a little risky when people aren't coordinated. Quick side note is, if you can, try to stay near the edge until the AoE puddles drop. This makes it a lot easier to get to your spot without giant pepperonis blocking your path. I also do a Medica 2 before the knockback, just so the party gets some healing ticks when they're far away from me and I can't reach them for heals if they drop too low. And strike, make sure the party is topped. I like to have a taking Medica 2, and if you're not involved in the soaking, just stay away from the AoEs until they all resolve, as well as the dives. After everything's done, you can run middle and top the party. You can use a Size, Asylum, or Medica 2 here. And you can use Tetra or Divine Benison to spot heal anyone that missed your heals. Grand Octet, you don't really do much as a healer. In particular, just make sure the party is topped, since they'll be taking Mega Flares at the end. It's also worth noting, timing your reses is pretty important. You don't want to res someone right before a twister happens, since they can spawn on a twister and then blow everyone up. So if you know the timeline well, you can hold off on your swift cast reses so that they happen after the twister instances. Gonad as a healer, since you don't have any mechanics, you can just chill out the wall during the hatches, and keep an eye on the tanks. Use Medica 2s, regens, or both on them so that they're constantly healthy. And if they do drop low unexpectedly, be sure to quickly react and use any of the resources you have available. This Mega Flare goes through res immunity, so I used Benediction on the Summoner so they wouldn't get smoked again. But that's just niche fight knowledge that you'll learn over time as you get better at the fight. Again, for the hatcheries, you can just chill at the wall, keep an eye on the tank's HP bars, and then use stone to your heart's content. And finally, Golden Bahamut. Pretty straightforward phase. Mostly just a choke check. Make sure the party is topped for every stack. For the tank busters, keep an eye on the tanks and use extra resources if they drop low. And do your best at dodging the Exaflare. Shout out to the Kyoke Exaflare guide if you want to learn how to dodge Exas consistently and confidently. Hope you guys found the POV/guide useful, and good luck on your UCOB adventures.